Good evening, welcome to round 25 of the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship here on BSRTV with me, Chris Cohen, joined by Adam Bath. Adam, Silverstone, but not the Silverstone that the viewers might be expecting.
Yes, you're right, Chris. We started out the season at Silverstone, but that was on the international circuit, which had quite a few more corners. But tonight, for those of you that watch the British Touring Car Championship, we are at the national circuit, 6 corners, flat-out racing. Going to be a lot of slipstreaming. Can't wait for it.
And we say 6 corners, don't we? But some of them are really kind of non-corners as well. So it's more like a kind of triangle, a big, long, wide triangle of what is probably going to be doom at the end of the day.
Yeah, we start out at the normal pit straight and head into Copse. Then we head into the Maggots and Beckett's complex before heading down the Weddington Straight, and then end the lap through Priory, the left-hander, and then through the long right-hander at Luffield before we start another lap. So shortest lap of the year, so it should be pretty frantic.
The Weddington Straight, you know, I've been watching Silverstone for probably 20 years, 25 years, and I didn't know it was called the Weddington Straight, so you learn something new every day, even in the commentary box. So just going to bring you some pictures from the live session. We've got 3 races for you this evening, rounds 25, 26 and 27, all on BSR TV. It's going to be about 20 minutes of racing in each race, and we've got the reverse grid in round 26, top 10. We've also got the reverse grid top 20 in round 27, and the qualifying, well, we can tell you right now, wasn't entirely surprising in terms of the top sort of 5, Adam.
No, with the usual championship contenders are right up there with Hideko Lopez on pole position once again, and alongside him, Jamie Rushworth. Sadly, I don't have a stat for how many times we've had that front row this season, but I think it's been quite a few.
It's almost like they don't need to bother turning up because you know they're going to be in those positions, but they did, and they got some pretty cracking qualifying times in as well. Lopez on top with a 58.585. Rushworth was very close, and you mentioned before we went on air, Adam, that he was very close to actually getting that pole position. Just always seems to slip through his fingers, doesn't it?
Yeah, he was just starting his final flying lap with a few seconds to go in the session, then put a wheel onto the curb and onto the grass, heading into the Beckett's complex at the beginning of the lap, went off the track, and that was his lap scuppered. However, at Interlagos, Kova Lopez qualified almost over half a second quicker than Jamie Rushworth, so it's good to see that the MovieGo driver, the reigning BSRTC champion, has closed the gap on Lopez.
Just looking at the championship now, after 24 races, there's 33 races this season. So after these 3 races, we've got 2 more meets. That's 6 more races. Bathurst and Brands Hatch. Lopez now has a 133 point advantage. Now, if you win a race, you actually do get 100 points. If you come second in a race, you get 90 points. So it's going to be about 10 points difference, and there's 9 races left. So even if Rushworth were to win every single race and Lopez were to come second, he's done enough. But if Lopez were to not finish a race for whatever reason, too much damage or disconnection or something like that, that could really open things up. So that's the gap at the top. But watch out for Savidovic, because he's really impressed all season, Adam, and he's only about 60 points behind Rushworth.
Yeah, Savidovic has been coming on strong in the last few races. We saw at Interlagos him win the race by the closest possible margin, and I think he's on a roll at the moment. Let's see if he can do some damage to the top 2 this evening.
Well, that was an interesting post-race interview, wasn't it? Because we did think it was the closest possible margin, as you say, and he was cool as a Polish cucumber. He was Savidovic. He brushed it off. He said, "Well, I've had closer races in the past, and well, not by much, I don't think. .007 was the gap last week when Savidovic took that victory away from Lopez. Now Hug is in 4th place. Don't rule out Stefan Hug. He was extremely competitive last season, missed out on the championship by a narrow margin to Jamie Rushworth. Katz, we have some news about Katz after his driving last week. He's been demoted to the back of the grid for this race and also the next race, so rounds 25 and 26. We'll see him right at the back, no matter where he finishes in this race. It's got to affect him a little bit, Adam, in that he probably he knows he's going to the back of the grid, so he'll want the points, but it's not as imperative for him to get into the top 10.
No, and I think he knows that he's got the top 20 reverse grid for the third and final race, so he might try and work his way up through the grid. Of course, the slipstream should help, but I think his main aim is to gain as many places as he can throughout this evening.
And back of the grid also for Reggie Blaine, who is not here, so he'll serve his penalty when he returns. And Robert Burton, who qualified 29th, so it's not too far back to the back of the grid for Rob Burton this evening, unlike Katz, who would otherwise have qualified 5th. We'll come on to the qualifying in just a moment. Chebolevsky on that score sheet there is now out, as he has withdrawn from the championship, and I hope he's watching this evening, even if he can't be racing. Good if he is. Always nice to have him part of the championship in whatever capacity. The top, well, the 11 to 20 looks a little bit like this, with Reggie Blaine tied with Julian Janowski for 13th place. And then going all the way down, Laura Bond continues to slide down the championship down to 17th. The only lady driver in the championship was almost on the verge of being in the top 10, which I know would be her goal for the end of the season. Not entirely impossible, especially not with some of the random events that occur in these kind of races. And then Simon Field and Dan Hunt there for DMR Hydrographics, rounding out the top 20. If we have a brief look, we've got about 3 minutes before we go down to the grid for round 25. We have a brief look at the team standings here. Chrome Restart are now 654 points out on top. Is there any way that any of these teams can catch up?
I don't see it happening, to be honest, Chris. The STP Bianco cars, really, Savidovic is the top driver, as well as possibly Adam Terry. And eBay Motors, after winning 9 times this season, they are yet to close in on that margin by Chrome Restart. So if Chrome Restart carry on in this consistent way, I think the Teams Championship and that iRacing prize money should be theirs.
So top 4 teams will receive prize money at the end of the season. It's a $1,000 prize fund, 4 drivers per team. You can probably work it out in your head. The greatest chunk of that will be going to the top team at the end of the season, and it will be hard fought as well for those last few places. Don't rule out Karcher either in 5th place. Katz won't be helping things by being at the back of the grid, so he'll be trying to help his team out as much as possible, especially in that 3rd race where he doesn't have the back of the grid penalty. And 888 are now known as Engine Oil Direct. We still haven't got that one updated, so apologies for that one. They are in 7th place. CQR one to watch this evening. Martin Johnson returns in a guest drive for CQR alongside Andrew Whitehead and Russell Laidler, and poor old AMD still right down there, the only team not to be in the 4 figures, and by quite some margin as well. So that's how the teams round up. We've seen the drivers already. About 2 minutes now before we go down to the grid and hopefully enjoy the start of this 32 car race. Oh, nasty! Big impact in practice there for Ellis Stevens. He'll bring that one back to the pits and give it another try. Just having a look now to see if we can go down to well, I was going to say, can we go down and have a quick word with Russell Laidler, whose car is currently upside down as a result of that impact there. But let's see if he's got a few words for us just before we start this race. Russell, are you there?
How's it going, mate?
That's a little bit better than you at the moment after that. How did your car end up upside down?
You might want to ask Ellis for that one. I think he just wanted to have a playful wrestle.
Well, mission accomplished, I'd say. You qualified very well for this session, and you've got an extra place coming your way because Katz is going to the back of the grid, so it'll be a 6th place start. Good position to be starting in at a track that you should be comfortable on.
Yeah, but I'm going to actually turn around and say what I said the first time I ever raced here, and I'm punching above my weight again. It was a bit of a fluke lap, really, because my normal pace, about 2 or 3 tenths a lap off that. But I'll take it nonetheless, and I'll see what I can do.
So you've got to be top dog amongst the CQR drivers this evening, at least in your eyes.
That's only because Ash is on holiday.
Well, yeah, that's true, but you know, use it while it's on offer, I'd say.
Yeah, you could say that, but I mean, Andrew Whitehead, he's getting more and more consistent as each round goes on, and Jono can always put on a good performance as well. You know, both of them have better race pace and qualifying pace, so I think they're going to be making a lot of moves as well.
Well, we'll let you go down to the grid and we'll be joining you with the cameras in a moment, but 6th place. Looking forward to seeing what you can do from there, Russell Laidler.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
That's Russell Laidler for CQR there. And we're just about to go down to the grid, Adam, so why don't you run us through that slightly modified top 10?
Yes, so on the pole position, it is once again Ade Koba-Lopez, and alongside him is Jamie Rushworth. And in row 2, it's Stefan Hug and Wojciech Savidovic. 5th place is David Baker, and then alongside him is, we've just talked to him, Russell Laidler. 7th place is Jerome Kaiser, and alongside him, Richard Wild. And then rounding out the top 10 is Linus Bostrom and the other eBay Motors car of Ellis Stevens. So eBay Motors cars starting and bringing up the rear of the top 10.
Thanks, Adam. And we are now looking at the number 1 on the grid and in the championship as well. Ade Koba-Lopez for eBay Motors. It's going to be difficult to get past him. He's got the inside line down into turn 1, Adam, and well, Copse is not a prime overtaking opportunity when you've got a whole field of cars behind you.
Yes, you probably need to get a pretty decent overlap to get any sort of move done into Copse. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen into the Maggots and Beckett's complex as we're getting ready for the start of the race, Chris.
Thanks, Adam. The lights go on. Round 25 of the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship is go, and 22 laps are upon us. Koba-Lopez gets a good enough start as he normally does. Now let's watch the back of the field as these cars come through. Rushworth already moving to the inside as Lopez takes a nice wide line. He's not worried about the cars behind him, but the question is, can everybody get through there in one piece? The first place is secure. The answer is no. We've lost one of the eBay Motors drivers. Is that Steve Richardson? KX Club Card catches with the Karcher there. Is that, hopefully
Yes,
that's not Cats?
Yes, it was Cats, and it was Marcus Narris in the KX Club Car car as we head down to Maggots and Beckett's.
So, Lopez still in the lead of this race. He's got it under control. Looks to me like Laidler's up to 5th. So, place made up for Russell Laidler. Savidovic is 4th, Hug 3rd, Rushworth in 2nd place. I'll try and get a little bit of a volume increase for you as well. It's sounding a little bit too quiet. But that's pretty much how we expected the start to go, at least at the front of the pack, Adam. Good move from Laidler there. His CQR teammates are in 17th for Martin Johnson and 21st for Andrew Whitehead. 3-car team this evening. And poor old Steve Richardson is right down there at the back after that early contact. Did you catch what happened there?
No, I just saw the result of it. It's a shame for Andreas Katz, as we said, back of the grid. Pretty even lap. I think Rushworth was just wanted to get his bearings, and now he can get right after Ade Koba-Lopez as we come on to the Weddington straight for the second time.
Well, I think, in fact, Katz has packed it in for this particular race. Perhaps too much damage after that contact, but he's coming to the pits and he's not coming out again. So we've lost one of the Karcher drivers already, unfortunately. And these laps go around really quickly. They're sub 1 minute laps for most of these drivers.
Yes, in qualifying we saw the lap times at around about the 58-second mark, so it is the shortest lap of the year, so we're going to see lots of racing throughout the evening tonight. 21 laps still to go here. Lopez has got a 6/10 of a second lead over Jamie Rushworth as we come round to complete lap number 2. Stefan Hughes in 3rd, with Wojciech Savidovic right behind him as we come round to complete the lap.
Over the line then, and still pretty much nose to tail. No real very close battles going on, I wouldn't say. Savidovic looking a little bit like he might make a move on Hug, in fact. Rushworth just seems content though at the moment and not really mounting a challenge. Perhaps he can't. Perhaps he just doesn't have the pace. Perhaps no one has the pace to catch up with Lopez, who's now half a second to the good. Ellis Stevens holding on to 9th place, and Laura Bond slips into the top 10. We didn't mention her qualifying run this evening, but it was a pretty strong qualifying run. Puts her in 11th, so she's made up a place from that. Just got Simon Field just behind her in that Engine Oil Direct car. And a lot of these drivers running with the different coloured mirrors so that you can tell the difference. And you've got the option to watch this in HD. We do broadcast in HD, and it might not be the default option for you on YouTube, but you're welcome to switch over, and you might just be able to make out some of those mirrors in actual fact. So the pink mirrors on the, predictably enough, the SDP Bianco car indicate that it is Laura Bond, number 32, behind the wheel. Oh, we got a slow car there, that's Stevens.
and a slow CQR car. That was Andrew Whitehead. He had to get on the brakes. Also, while you were talking, Chris, I saw a problem for Martin Johnson, and also there was a bit of contact between Tim Mawson and the Chrome restart car of Ben Gregory going into Magnussen Beckers. There's a bit of contact there behind Andrew Whitehead going into Magnussen Beckers. I can't see who it was. It was David Taylor and one of the Power Max cars. So it's all kicking off here, and that's one of the Karsha cars. I think number 7, that is Nils Jordan, I think, as we head down the Wellington Straight.
Well, it's too wide there, isn't it? It's Colin Steele versus David Taylor. Narris and Jordan just behind. Oh, David Taylor gets the inside line, but he's going to lose out unless he can get around the outside of Colin Steele going into Luffield here. Marcus Narris obviously recovering from that early incident. Oh, more contact there, and looks like Taylor's just made contact with the back of Steele's car. Taylor moves across to cover that line and almost catches Richardson there, and Martin Johnson in the lime green Krabby's livery, didn't have a chance to update that to CQR this evening's racing, is also in on this action. David Taylor's dropping places now, isn't he?
Yes, and a bit of contact further up the field. That's Peter Van Gool in the other Karsha car. He's just been barged out of the way by the KX car of
that'd be Robert Graham.
Yeah, yes, you're right there, and he's been overtaken by the Chrome restart car of Ben Gregory, I think, as we head into Priory. So a bit unfortunate for Peter Van Gool. How we usually see him up in the top 20 reverse grid. So 17th is a pretty good place for him at the moment.
Oh, what's happened to Martin Johnson now? He's gone. Is he disconnected? Let's have a look on the replay, see what we can bring up on the replay. Here he's battling away with David Taylor, and Steve Richardson gets through. Martin Johnson gets that a little bit wrong and goes wide on the exit. There's Colin Steele right in front of him. Wow, just sneaks past the Pertec there. And, well, I still don't see... Oh, huge impact there as he gets turned around. And that's a disqualification, I believe, Adam, already on lap 6.
Yeah, it looks a bit of a shame for Martin Johnson. As I did say a few laps ago, he did have a bit of contact going into Maggots and Beckers. I think we might have to cut away from that because Ade Kober-Lopez is coming under immense pressure from Jamie Rushworth as we come out of Luffield to complete another lap. Rushworth was right on the back of the eBay Motors car heading through Priory and Luffield.
Absolutely. Lap 6 rather is over. Lap 7 begins. Rushworth is showing no signs of letting up, and I thought Lopez might just sneak away with this one, but it's not going to be the case. He's going to have to do everything in his power to keep Jamie Rushworth behind him. He's going to know he's got a little bit of leeway, but that won't matter. He'll want to win every race, even if he doesn't need the championship points at him. Lopez's car was incredibly squirrely going into Magnus and Beckers, and you're right there. Lopez doesn't need to defend or be aggressive because he knows how much his championship lead is. However, Rushworth does know that he needs to do everything he can to reduce that championship gap, and he's looking all over the place as we head into Priory. He's out of control, plants the foot to the floor, and now that's put him under pressure from Stefan Hoog as we head into Luffield, and Savidovic might be able to capitalise here as well. So Savidovic just behind Rushworth now. Hoog's been pushed around to the outside there. It initially looked like Hoog had the better opportunity, but the two of them are going to be side by side. Rushworth gets away with that slide. It was good control, but he did put himself in that situation with a very high entry speed into Priory. Through Copse once again on lap 8, side by side. Hoog versus Savidovic. Savidovic is going to carry the advantage through here because he's got the inside line now, going into what will be Beckett's the right-hander. Hoog knows that, so he's just slipped behind there, and Savidovic is through. So I don't think Savidovic will feel like he earned that, but he'll take it. Meanwhile, just behind, Brewstrom and Simon Field are going head to head, and that's Ellis Stevens just behind as well. So Laura Bond drops down to 11th after those guys have managed to sneak their way through. Simon Field looks like he's done the best out of that, actually, up to 8th place for Simon Field, so good drive from him.
Yes, I think he was on pole position in the reverse race 2 race at Interlagos. So a good drive by the Engine All Direct team, promoting the championship once again as we come through Woodcote to complete another lap. The gap between these lots, Simon Field in 8th, Linus Bostrom in 9th, and Ellis Stevens in 10th is just over a second between the trio as we head through Copse once again. 14 laps to go here, and Ellis Stevens is closing in on Linus Bostrom.
Ben Gregory is closing in also on Robert Graham for 15th place just up in front. Steve Hefford is the white car just up in front, another engine oil direct car, and then Dan Hunt, his ex-teammate there in the DMR Hydrographics car just up in front of that. Oh, bit of a mistake there from Rob Graham as we come into Beckett's there, and he's kept it under control pretty well. I thought he'd be in trouble there, but he's managed to survive. So 16th still for Ben Gregory, and you'd think he'd want to be a little bit higher up the field than this. He's normally a little bit faster than this. Maybe he's struggling with this particular circuit. Oh, and there's another mistake from Graham. Gregory is through into 15th, but yeah, 15th. You'd expect Gregory to want a top 10 at least.
Yeah, the Chrome Restart, as we were saying at the beginning of the show, are the consistent team in the Teams Championship, so Ben Gregory will be wanting to score as many points as he can for the Chrome Restart team. And Jamie Rushworth, by the way, is now 0.3 seconds. He's managed to gain that time back from Adeko Lopez. He lapped 0.3 of a second quicker than the current championship leader, so this battle's not over yet. Maybe he's having the benefit of the slipstream down the Wellington straight and the front straight.
I happen to know, in terms of setup, it's a very tricky one to set up for. Very fast straights and very tight corners. The corners don't look that tight, but it's because it's such a wide track here. It's part of the old Silverstone International Circuit, of course, the Grand Prix. Now, Rushworth happens to be running with a lower camber on the front, which in theory will slow him down in some of the high-speed corners, but will make those tyres last a lot longer. So could it be that as we get towards the end of this race, we see Rushworth with the upper hand?
Yes, and also maybe they've reduced the rear spoiler. I don't know whether that's a modifiable option here on iRacing, but since there's only very few corners here, maybe we've reduced the downforce setting, and maybe that won't have as much load on the tyres either. So it'll be interesting to see how the cars handle towards the final part of the race. We're sort of splitting into two packs now. It's Adeko Lopez and Jamie Rushworth, and Wojciech Zawidovic and Stefan Hug. So the lead quartet starting to split up.
They are, and they're now 4.5 seconds as well ahead of 5th place Russell Laidler, who looks like he might be holding up David Baker just behind. He's looking for a way around, but unless you've got a significant speed advantage or your opponent makes a mistake, it's going to be pretty tricky to get through. Jeroen Kaiser just behind in 7th place. I didn't think he'd be racing this evening. I thought he'd be off doing other things, as a word from the commentary box. But anyway, he's well and truly in this race, and Simon Field in 8th just behind, but definitely a big separation. You can see that on your screen there. The leaders now coming into Beckett's for the 12th time. Side by side, David Baker looks for a way round. He's going to use the exit here. He's going to try and take a wider line in, sling that car around, and try and get past Russell Laidler just in front. CQR running in 5th place. We haven't seen that for quite a while, Adam.
No, we haven't seen that kind of form since the days of Ashley Sutton. However, Russell Laidler, I do believe, won a race a few rounds ago at the Indianapolis circuit. As Baker tries to go around the outside, Laidler, I think, will have to concede the place because Baker has the inside line. And here comes Kaiser. I think Kaiser might hang out Laidler to dry. I think he does. Both Chrome Restart cars go through. Laidler down to 7th, Kaiser up to 6th, and in 5th place now is David Baker.
Well, we see that so often, don't we, Luffield? Unless you get that tight inside line, you're going to lose more places because it's so much more track to cover around the outside. As Laidler has a look through Cops, I don't think he's happy with the fact that he just lost 2 places in one corner.
Battle for the lead. Rushworth down the inside of Lopez. I think he might have got him here. Coming out of Beckett's down the Wellington straight. It's all about who has the top speed. I don't know whether Lopez will try and use the toe of that engine or direct car. No, he doesn't. But it's now the eBay Motors car versus the Movie Go car. Lopez shuts the door firmly in Jamie Rushworth's face as we head into Priory. But it looked like Rushworth had an opportunity to get the lead there.
Oh, it was so close, wasn't it? It was side by side for a moment. Maybe Rushworth just running a little bit of a higher wing, or maybe the draft gave Lopez the sling that he needed to get down that straight quicker, but quite convincingly shut the door in the end. 13 laps gone, we reached the halfway point of this first race of the evening. Still no change up front. Lopez from Rushworth from Zawidovic, and then Stefan Hug.
Rushworth goes wide. Here comes Zawidovic. I think Zawidovic might have got second place here. Yes, they're side by side. Savidovic has managed to get it done on Jamie Rushworth. Rushworth just went too deep into Copse, but Rushworth's going to go down the inside. He gets him back, he hangs him out wide. Here comes Stefan Hug in the Chrome restart car. I think he might be able to get both of them here. He must have the superior top straight line speed as we head down the Wellington straight once again. Lopez is dropping these three. He's leaving them to Pasadena, saying see you later as we head through to Priory. Savidovic should have the inside line into the left-hander, and Stefan Hug has to slot into second place, but that was pretty frantic and it's not over yet because here comes Stefan Hug down the inside, nearly goes off the track. It's becoming pretty frantic here as we've got 9 laps to go.
Fantastic racing from these guys, but yep, Lopez will be counting his blessings that Rushworth is getting involved in that scrap behind him, because he has now been able to pull a full second off down the road. He is doing a great job of just maintaining his lead, really, and well, I can't believe that these guys didn't swap positions at all. Rushworth absolutely determined to make up for that mistake, wasn't he, and get that second place back. Oh, here comes Savidovic again.
Yes, immediate counter-attack there by Jamie Rushworth, and Savidovic has gone very early on the brakes because here comes Stefan Hug. He's got a nose in. He hits him a little bit. Contact between the left front and right rear of Savidovic as once again we head down the Wellington straight. 8 laps to go here at the Silverstone National Circuit. They're in the slipstream. I wonder if Savidovic is planning on having a go down his Priory. He's going to have a pretty big lunge, which he doesn't do. He's a conservative driver, and Stefan Hug nearly runs into the back of him as we head into Luffield once again. Savidovic doesn't have a go, neither does Stefan Hug, and Adeko Lopez has now got a 1.3 second lead.
Yeah, he has, and it's now 5 seconds from this pack we're watching here back to 5th place David Baker. The other car you can see behind this pack is actually a back marker there, so not racing for position. Jamie Rushworth's 2nd place is not secure, is it, Adam?
No, he's not. He's done a better job through Copse this time, but once again I think Savidovic might have the better run. No, he doesn't. I don't think he's going to mount a challenge this time into Maggots or Beckett's. No, he stays. Once again, Savidovic very early on the brakes. I know he's Mr. Conservative with his points and with his finishes, but that was very early on the brakes, and you don't want Stefan Hug to have a gap like he did the last time round.
No, absolutely, but they hold station for now. Meanwhile, for 14th place, Steve Hefford is challenging Ben Gregory. Steve Hefford on the left here. Ben Gregory with a chrome restart keeps the position, but that's Peter Van Gool just behind. Watch out for him. He's gone very wide there, hasn't he? He's lost a lot of time there, but Steve Hefford all over the back of that chrome restart car. Can he get the toe that he needs to get past? He's going to try and look down the inside. It's going to be a very dodgy manoeuvre here at Priory to get round there, because the inside leads to the outside at the next corner, but he is straight through. Gregory has to get on the brakes early to avoid having his nose chopped right off there. Bit of damage on that engine oil direct car. Nothing a bit of engine oil can't fix though, I'm sure. And he goes through into 14th place. Steve Hefford, good drive.
I think Steve Hefford might have just seldom with me there as we went into Priory. He looked outside and then dived back down the inside and managed to do one over the 15th place car of Ben Gregory.
One man we haven't been talking about a lot, but holding a good position nonetheless, is top 10 driver. 10th place Julian Janowski right now, chasing down Linus Brostrom. Stevens has dropped off this battle now, he's 2 seconds behind. Oh, Laidler getting past there by Simon Field, just a little bit up the road. So Laidler down to 8th, and he was talking before the race, Adam, about punching above his weight a little bit, and his early 5th place has turned into a 8th, is it? 7th, he's battling with Simon Field, but seems to be holding pretty good lap times.
Yeah, we were just saying he said he was punching above his weight, but then he was right back onto the attack with Simon Field as we head down into Copse once again. 5 laps to go here, and Simon Field gets a good run through Copse. I think he might have a go down the inside of the CQR car, down into Maggots and Beckett's. Here he goes. No, he slots back down to the inside, and Laidler defends the inside. A bit of contact there. Laidler gets a bit out of shape, and Simon Field drops off the back of him there.
I don't think Simon Field would take a place from that sort of contact. Just a little bit later on the brakes than Laidler, and as a result made that little bit of contact, but does the sporting thing and stays behind. He'll have another bite at that particular cherry, I'm sure, before the end of the race. 4 laps to go now as well, so Lopez with a 1 second lead out front looks pretty insurmountable at this stage.
Yes, but once again, Rushworth is setting consistently quicker lap times. We come around to complete another lap. However, Lopez, this time was quicker by 1/10 of a second, but the gap remains at just under a second between the two championship rivals.
So Lopez And it's going to be another pole to flag. How many times has he done this from pole to flag at the first race of the evening? Oh, Rushworth's going very wide.
Yes, I'm looking at the stats right now, but Rushworth is now coming under pressure from Wojciech Savidovic. Once again, Savidovic is going to try and go around the outside. It's all about straight line speed here. Down the Wellington Straight into Priory. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? You'd think it'd be Jamie Rushworth, but no. Savidovic goes around the outside. That means he'll have the inside line for Luffield. And yes, he does it. What a fantastic move by Wojciech Savidovic up into second place. But Rushworth goes back down the inside. Nearly a bit of contact there between the SCP Bianco car and the Movigo car. But we're coming around Woodcote to complete another lap. And Wojciech Savidovic is our new second place man.
Well, Ruffield, I think you're inventing new corners for this circuit, which just shows how exciting this racing is. Sorry to interrupt you from your stat run there as well. I know how much you like to get those out, but that was important because Savidovic takes second place from Rushworth, and this is going to be even more points that Rushworth is going to shed at the lead of the championship, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And just to bring you up on that stat, Ade Copa Lopez has won the first race of each race meeting, once at Indianapolis on the bike circuit, and once at the Circuit of the Americas full circuit, but believe it or not, that is the only... Oh, and once at the Suzuka circuit. So he's won the first race of the evening 3 times.
Well, it seems like it would have been more than that, as we've got a little battle going on here between Russell Lader and Simon Field. Simon Field might just be able to take that 7th place away this time, but it's actually an advantage in some cases to be on the outside of Priory, isn't it?
Yeah, we saw with Wojciech Savidovic, he managed to hang it around the outside, and somehow there was enough grip there. Simon Field is now up into 7th place, and Russell Laidler down into 8th. Laidler punching above his weight, as he said at the beginning of the broadcast, but I think he should be able to hold on to 8th place as we're now on the penultimate lap of the race.
I don't think he'll be disappointed with a top 10 finish at all. His teammate Andrew Whitehead in 21st for CQR, and unfortunately Martin Johnson is a retirement. We saw him disqualified for the number of incidents that he'd had in the race. Probably nothing to do with him, just racing incidents, as it were. Happens to everybody. And Katz and Tim Mawson are the other 2 retirements as well. They're both out of the race. Katz went out very early, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was as a result of that contact into Copse on the very first lap. Tim Mawson, he sustained damage in a crash at Priory on lap 2 or 3, and that meant he was out of the race. I don't know whether Dacoba Lopez might have just been held up by the back marker of the DWR car of David Taylor. The gap is down to 0.7 seconds, and the last time Wojciech Savidovic was behind Ade Coba Lopez, he managed to beat him by 7 thousandths of a second. I don't think that's going to be the case today, as Savidovic might have trouble getting past this back marker as we're now on the final lap of the race, Chris.
Final lap, one more time round to go. David Taylor really needs to get out of the way. Oh, is there contact there? Hope not. Savidovic anyway is still going. David Taylor needs to pull over really. Let these guys through. 3 of them are through. What's going to happen with Hoog? And Savidovic is too far away, surely, to mount a challenge now.
Yeah, so I think it's not over for Jamie Rushworth. He's all over the place. He's trying to get into the slipstream of Wojciech Savidovic. Let's see if he has a lunge down into Priory. We're on the final lap of the race. Rushworth looks to the inside. Savidovic holds it in, but Rushworth lets off the gas. Lets off the brake, sorry, and nearly has a go. Is he going to hit the back of the Bianco car into the final corner? He gets the inside line, gives him a little bit of a tap, but that's not going to do anything to Savidovic's second place. Here comes Lopez Chris to win the race.
Pole to flag once again. Ade Coba Lopez for eBay Motors takes round 25. Savidovic 2nd, Rushworth 3rd, Hoog 4th. David Baker is quite a way behind, but holds on to 5th place nonetheless. Jeroen Kaiser, great result there, 6th place, and Russell Laidler is 8th, behind Simon Field in 7th. No idea why I swapped those 2 round. Brewstrom 9th, Janowski, great drive from Janowski in 10th place. Results will be coming up on your screen any moment.
The 8th win of the season for Ade Coba Lopez.
He is demolishing the competition in this championship, and it's the first time he's really applied himself. He's been in the championship in a number of seasons before, and it's just a kind of a guest driver, not really participated in a full season, but now that he's committed to this full season of 33 races, just seems to be no stopping him, and it's going to be pretty demoralising to see him qualify on pole every time and win the first race. Just puts you in a disadvantage for the rest of the racing.
Yeah, we were having a chat after the Interlagos race about the upcoming event at Silverstone, and we thought this was going to be the chink in Lopez's armour, but obviously not. Pole position and a lights to flag victory.
Great result there for Lopez once again. I can't really ask much more of the eBay Motors driver. It's the only eBay Motors in the top 10 as Stevens drops down to 11th there, but still a good finish there. Chrome Restart though taking places 4, 5 and 6 from Hugh Baker and Kaiser there. So great result. They didn't get a podium finish this time, but they don't need to with 3 strong finishes like that, and it's going to be hard to argue with those guys when it comes to the championship, isn't it?
Yeah, those were the top people at the top of the championship going at it for the top 3 places. So great drive by those guys, and I think we're about to have a word with Jamie Rushworth, our 3rd place finisher.
Jamie, 3rd place, great result, but could have been a little bit higher. Perhaps you felt like you might have got 2nd out of that.
To be honest, I felt good for a win this time. It just wasn't very smart driving. I kept missing some braking points and losing positions at crucial times.
Well, we saw a number of very, very small mistakes. I mean, there were mistakes, but they were what most people would consider throwaway incidents. But of course, losing that valuable 1/10 here and there ends up coming back to bite you, doesn't it?
Absolutely does, especially when the car behind you is right on your bumper.
And, well, I mean, it seems like Lopez pulled a flag again. It's the 5th time this season, I believe, in the first race. It seems like he's untouchable, but you seem to have other ideas.
I really felt like I could keep up with him that race. So,
and how are the pedals doing? You were having some problems with those last week. Are they feeling better this week?
I've replaced them because they were awful. Feeling a lot better with these new ones, yeah.
Excellent. Well, 3rd place, going to drop a few more points to Lopez. It's looking more and more, not to put a downer on anything, but looking more and more like a 2nd place result in the championship this season. But how do you feel about taking that victory in the championship? Still possible?
I really don't think it's possible at this point. Lopez would have to have an absolute disaster.
Well, we've seen it happen before in this championship, so we'll have to ask the viewers to stay tuned for the exciting conclusion. But Lopez down to 10th for the 2nd race, and you're going to be starting in 8th, which is good news because Savidovic will also be behind you. Possibly see a win from you in the 2nd race?
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see how it goes, but there was quite a big difference between 4th and 5th, wasn't there?
Absolutely, a big gap there, and something to work towards in the 2nd race. So good luck with that one, Jamie. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
That's Jamie Rushworth there for Movie Go. Last season's champion as well. He doesn't sound too confident about being able to get those points back. It's now 148 points, I think, the gap at the top of the table, Adam.
Yeah, but we never know. Bathurst, I keep saying, is the wild card, the joker, as it were, for the season. So I think after Bathurst, we'll have a clearer picture of who's going to win this championship. Just an interesting stat for you, because I've had a look at the pole position results, and I believe Lopez has been on pole position 6 times this season.
Well, 6 times out of 25 races now. Well, I mean, you can only count you can count a third of those, I suppose, can't you? 9 races then. Because they only qualify for the first race of the evening. So
yeah,
6 out of 9. It's 2/3 pole position rate. It's not bad.
No, it's not for a championship leader. I think he's got those qualifying sessions sorted.
Absolutely. Well, another race coming your way very shortly here on BSR TV, round 26. We'll be heading over there pretty soon, and it's going to be a top 10 reverse grid. Pole position to Julian Janowski. That'll be an interesting one, Adam.
Yes, the Yuasa cars on pole position. They have been missing the driver Stelian Chepelewski. He no longer races in the championship, so good job by Janowski to get Yuasa back up the front of the grid.
And the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship will return in about 5 or 10 minutes time. So thanks very much for watching, and from me and Adam, we'll see you in a moment.